Hello, my name's John Power and this video is part of my application to be a facilitator on the Drivers for Change program. In this video I'm going to explore how I would introduce myself to a group of young people, how I would go about facilitating the welcome, and how I would go about breaking the ice and forming a good rapport with everybody. So first off, a little bit about myself. When I was studying my A-levels, I took art, maths and physics. I've always enjoyed this blend of creative and analytical pursuits. I think I get this from my parents. My father is a maths professor and my mother is a collage artist. It's almost like they're a living metaphor of the left and right brain, and I have been very much inspired by this throughout my life. I then went on to study mathematics at university, and alongside taking classes in logic, linear algebra and number theory, I like to get involved with different clubs and societies and creative pursuits, as many people do at university. And for me it was things like painting and sketching places that I traveled to, as well as theatre, radio, and even a little bit of breakdancing. And then after leaving university, about 5 years ago, I went and joined one of the largest accountancy companies in the UK, and I got a job as an auditor. And working as an auditor meant that I got to go around different businesses and check that their finances were what they said they were in the accounts. This was really useful because I got to go under the skin of many different businesses and see what made them work. How did they actually give value to different companies? And that really provoked my imagination. Alongside auditing, however, I like to keep that creative side of myself busy, and for me that's meant I've got involved with a couple of different things which I'm going to share with you now. Firstly, we have Alderney Man. Who is Alderney Man? Well, he's the world's first superhero based in the Channel Islands between France and the UK. And developing this little superhero who's a bumbling middle-aged man has been a real joy for me to do with one of my old friends. And here we have one of my favourite panels where we have absolute chaos ensuing behind our heroes with this big storm that's happening, and they're just doing their best to enjoy a cup of tea and carry on as though nothing is happening. Keeping calm and carrying on. The next thing I'd like to share with you all is the board game that I've worked on. So this has been something else that I've done alongside this work as an auditor. I have developed an original board game with some friends. This game is called Crystal Hall. It's all about witches and wizards battling and fighting each other with fireballs and electric currents and all sorts of other spells as they try and get hold of some powerful crystals inside a mysterious building. So this game's been really great because I'm a big fantasy nerd, and it's given me an excuse to fill my social media with lots of pictures of wizards and witches and fantasy kind of situations. It's also been really fun not only to play this game but also to produce it. It's allowed me to wear many different hats, like the accountant's hat, how are we going to make a profit out of this? The marketing hat, how are we going to get this out there and build a crowd before we crowdfund it? And also thinking about the operations, where are we going to source it from? What about Brexit? Is that going to affect everything? So it's been a really interesting project to be involved with. And if I make it as a facilitator onto this program, I'll be sharing lots more stories about that, I'm sure. Another way in which I might introduce myself is through the use of a drawing. So here's a drawing that I did when I was a teenager, and this drawing is a version of Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. Leonardo did this drawing to illustrate the proportions that make up the human form, but I've repurposed this to demonstrate how I'm interested in many different things, be it painting or rock music or listening to music and running as well with these tracksuit bottoms. I love that Leonardo da Vinci was an artist and an engineer and was interested in anatomy and was an architect, and I strive to have many different aspects to myself and not be somebody who is labelled in just one category. So that's something that I'd like to share about myself, and perhaps when we go around the group we could each share maybe one of our heroes, or we might even do some drawing of something that means something significant to each of ourselves. Now moving on to how I would welcome you onto the program. First off, I think that the main thing to say is a big well done. Well done on identifying Drivers for Change as a program that you'd like to be involved with. Well done on getting through the process and standing out as a young leader that's going to make a difference. Well done for being here on time and being in the right room on the right day. So yeah, I just want to say welcome and well done. I think it's fantastic that you're here. One thing that I would like to share as a bit of advice for young people is to cultivate your uniqueness. So whatever it is that makes you a little bit different, I think is going to be potentially a key to your success in the long term, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur. So for me, that meant being interested in art and maths, and that meant the whole field of games was something that I felt confident interacting with because I could understand the mathematics of it, what would make a balanced game, but also I felt that I could portray the visuals well and do the artistic side of things. So maybe you're somebody who's interested in basket weaving and you like yoga, and maybe you are the person who's going to invent a new type of yoga mat that involves weaving things in a new way. Or maybe you're interested in material science and yoga, and you're going to develop yoga mats where it tells you where to put your feet by lighting up different areas of the yoga mat, which would be quite fun. So whatever it is that makes you different, I think that is going to be the key to success in an increasingly homogenized world. So cultivate your uniqueness. So how would we go about breaking the ice? So hopefully we've broken it a little bit already, but I'd love to hear more about the young people in the room and what excites them, what causes do they care about, what talents are they going to bring into the world to help drive change. But first off, let's just start off with some really simple stuff, like going around the room and everybody sharing a unique talent that they have. So maybe you can fold your tongue in an unusual way, or maybe you can do a different accent, or maybe you can do a little bit of body popping, which is normally something that I do when I'm asked. We might also go around and instead of sharing a talent, we might share one of our favorite quotes. So maybe it's "Be the change that you want to see in the world" by Gandhi, or maybe it's "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take," which I think is attributed to Michael Jordan. What quote resonates with you and makes you want to get up in the morning and go drive some change? Another thing that we might do is 2 truths and a lie. I might say 2 truths and a lie, and you would guess which one you thought the lie was. So for example, when I was 7 years old, I met J.K. Rowling and went on the television show Blue Peter. The second sentence, when I was 11 years old, I broke a flower pot and ended up saving the lives of my entire family through this one act. Third sentence, I work only 4 days a week. Okay, there's my 2 truths and a lie. Maybe you can tell which one the lie is. I'm not going to reveal it in this video. You'll have to come and ask me if you'd like to find out. We might also do an exercise called stretch and share, which is something that I used to enjoy when I did improv. And this is exactly what it sounds like. Everyone does a stretch, which the other people in the group imitate, and they share one thing about themselves. So my stretch might be doing one of these, and I might share that I've had a great morning today because I had blueberries in my porridge and that makes me smile. Then everybody would go around and similarly lead the group in some stretch and share some little personal detail about their day. And that's quite good at seeing what people come up with or what stands out for that person about their day. Okay, so that's a little bit about me and how I would kickstart the sessions with my group. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Let's go drive some change.